This episode of the Council of the First Ones was recorded on June 6th, 2021.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Council of the First Ones. I'm Kelly, your host. Joining me today is Dave from Adult Collector. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm great. Yeah, it's awesome to be with you both again. And yeah, let's do this. Let's talk about Revelation.
Oh, yes. And of course, we have Sean also joining us. Hi, Sean.
How's it going, Kelly?
Are you still getting beaten up by your son?
Oh, he's actually down here in the basement with me right now, and I'm scared of what kind of yelling he'll do. But he and I was telling David before we started recording, he and I were over at Target about an hour ago, and I went into the toy section, and looking right at me was the Rise of Evil 2-pack for the very first time ever. There
Oh,
were
I'm going to
three
have
of
my Target then.
well, there were three of them when I was there, and there's one of them left. So
That's so awesome.
so that was quite a like I literally was like, you've got to be kidding me. They got like everything that anybody who is like, I can't find this. It's at Target. It's exclusive. It all was there today. I don't know how that worked out, but it was
That's
crazy.
awesome.
So yeah, I looked like the guy. I had all this stuff in my hands running up to the cash register for once. So
No, I haven't gone toy hunting in a few weeks. I've got to go out and look for it.
I can
Congrats.
definitely say it is out there now that I've seen it. Because until I see it with my own eyes, I don't believe it, because I've seen so many photos online, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's out there, it's out there, and all of a sudden, yeah, it's out there. So there you go.
Yeah,
Like,
because
yeah,
anything that's the East Coast, we're always the last to get it.
Exactly, and my corner of the world in particular is like, anything that was cool last year, we're finally starting to get it. So there you go. It's amazing I got it this early.
That is what you said earlier that our audience doesn't know about. Maybe
well,
we should just leave the mess up.
maybe we should what?
Leave the mess up in there.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, we've been seeing lots of amazing photos on the Origins fans group of people finding Castle Grayskull and the Rise of Evil 2-pack, and quite a few photos of people finding like 4 or 6 Rising Evil 2-packs at a time at the stores.
Wow.
It is possible.
Last time I tried to get a toy, it sold out too quickly. I could not
Yeah,
believe Con exclusive sold out within an hour.
Yeah, that was nuts too. I I felt bad. There were so many people with so many negative things to say about that, but how were they to know? The exposure is so much bigger than it's ever been since, Kevin Smith went to PowerCon. How were they to know that it was going to sell out that quickly for everything?
right. Yeah. I mean, if
That is a first, guys. Take my word. It is a first. I've never seen that.
well, yeah, usually you can kind of sit back and the exclusives will be available on at least Big Bad Toy Store for months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this is, even though everyone's pretty much aware of the FOMO, the fear of missing out that's been generated by the scalping and the distribution issues since the pandemic hit. Um, Even so, it's still a surprise that it would sell out both on the PowerCon website and Big Bad Toy Store so quickly. And part of me thinks really it makes sense that it would sell out so quickly on Big Bad Toy Store because honestly, these scalpers can easily buy up the exclusives on the site and they can cancel anytime. So if, they buy them up and then they look at the eBay prices, and if they're not selling, if it turns out to be a bunch of duds, then they can just cancel their order. But that's clearly not going to happen because they're selling for $1,000 a mint on eBay.
Yeah, and even Big Bad Toy Store did have a limit of, I think it was 2 that you could order. And those who are on eBay, eBay policy says they're only supposed to post a pre-order 30 days in advance.
Mm-hmm.
It can be pulled down.
Yeah.
Because the toys will not be in hand until September. And unless they're going to the show, they won't have them in hand until October.
Well, and
And
it'll be
to eBay, they did not realize, and I know they said they were going to start pulling some of them down.
right. Well, and it'll be nice to actually go to the show and be able to get the toys in hand. I'll be surprised when that happens because, of course, last year it was, okay, well, they're gonna have to be shipped and cross your fingers on when you're gonna get them. And, of course we all got them eventually, but.
Right. Normally at the show, the way PowerCon does it, when you check in, that's when they're going to give you a ticket that you have to take to the toy room. And depending on your ticket, tells them, I know it's normally Christina and Danielle who are in there, and I'm trying to remember who else is back there. They'll know from the colored tickets which item you get.
Right.
Have it down very efficiently after all these years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun. It's interesting that it was said that, I forget who said it, Val or somebody else said that the box for the Horde 4-pack is bigger than the Lords of Power exclusive box set. And it made me wonder, like, okay, so how are we going to plan for this? How are we going to... Everybody has to figure out how to ship their stuff back home safely, unless they're local, of course.
Guess what? Right in the same building on the first floor is the UPS store right next to the Disney store right in the Hilton.
Yeah, it's handy. It's very handy.
Actually, it will be two flights down from where PowerCon is. Well, that's scary that I can remember the layout of the hotel.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly something wonderful to look forward to. I hope so much that we don't end up going to PowerCon and hearing people, moan and complain the whole time about, one, the PowerCon stuff selling out so fast, and two, whatever happens with the Revelation show. Because there's already been so much griping about both of those things already.
Oh, I am so thankful I have not been online. I've heard from some friends about some of the gripes and saying that it's going too far to one side. It's the Teal show. I'm like, it hasn't even come out.
Mm-hmm.
Stop listening to that one YouTube channel.
Oh, there's more than one. There's definitely more. My kids.
The one they like citing quite a bit.
There was one that I couldn't resist. I had to. There's this one girl. She had like pink hair, and she started turning it into a thing about the race swapping of Andra, and then she started getting into all this stuff that everyone else who wants to be negative was getting into. I listened to maybe half the video because after a certain point I'm like, I can't do this. Like, it's just the same garbage from everybody who wants to be negative, and they all are saying the same thing. It's like there's a mantra out there right now in the both media and the fandom. And I actually had to respond to her. I'm like, you, number one, I don't think you even like Masters. This is more of a video that you did in order to have something that you could be angry about today. This is your thing that you're on today. This is your soapbox. And I'm like, you Googled Andra. You didn't even know who she was. I can tell that from how you screen shared and you did a Google search. Like, you don't even know who she is, so why does this matter to you? And on top of that, you have no idea other than the one image that we saw of anything that's going to be contrary to something people would think is the norm for Masters. And it's like, but you don't know the context of what that image is. So why are you doing it? You know, it's like I never got a response back. I didn't expect to. But this is exactly, everybody's just chapter versing. This is all they want to complain about. And it's like, I'm complaining about the complainers at this point. Like, I'm just tired of it. It's like, can we just enjoy it? Can we just wait for something and go, hey, here it is, you know? And
well, and keep in mind that a lot of people who complain, they're not Masters in the Universe fans. They're people
exactly.
who want attention. They want clicks. They want
Exactly.
subscribers.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. What's that, Kelly?
Sorry. I was going to say, even if we go back all the way to Filmation, Masters has been a very inclusive property. We did have Spinnerella and Natasha in the 80s sort of come out. I mean, it was heavily into that, where even a kid would realize what they were trying to say, even though they didn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
We had race swapping in 2000X with the Zodak. You know what we did? We just changed the letter. We accepted it.
Mm-hmm.
Our community has always been a very diverse and accepting one. It's these outsiders who don't know.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting and taking away what makes Masters such a beautiful property.
Yeah, it's a weird time because you'd think that people would be excited because here we have something new and something to look forward to because literally a month from now we're going to finally be able to sit down and watch the first 5 episodes, and it's like, but everybody has a complaint. And I'm just sitting there going, my only complaint is I just wish they didn't talk about this 2 years in advance so that we had all of these people always, when's this coming out? What one is this? Who's Kevin Smith? Oh God, it's all going to die. We're going to hell. It's like, you don't know anything yet, you know, like, I mean, you know, news to everybody listening. We're getting a trailer this week finally. It's like, you know, there you go. I mean, we got the ball rolling.
As of the recording of this video, Netflix Geek Week starts in 15 hours from the time we're recording this. We could have the trailer as of Monday, the day after we record this, to talk about and maybe have some of the answers so we could say, you guys are wrong. We were right. This is as awesome as Kevin Smith promised us. And during the transformation, going, yes, Bear did it. Bear did it.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing to be on the page for it on Netflix and hear that music and not hear Kevin Smith do his "Oh Bear" thing and all that. But like, I'm ready. It's time because I mean, people like David are dealing with, you know, like he's got so many of the groups and he's trying to get people involved and trying to get them, and also get the right information out there. And it's like, you know, here's finally Netflix throwing the ball into the game and going, here's a little helping hand. Here's a trailer. You know, this is a good thing. And, you know, I'm hoping the trailer actually shows more He-Man than anything else, so we can finally look at the people that are complaining it's a woke Teela show and just go, really? How much did you see of her in this trailer? You know, like, seriously.
Well, I'm pretty sick of the comments, and you'll be happy to know that I've started to clean them up. Anytime I see comments about, you know, they're all gay, they're all lesbians, they're woke, it's going to be woken, and I'm just deleting all that crap. We don't need it.
No. I mean, this is Pride Month. Yes, we should be all inclusive, but don't keep saying everything's gay, everything's gay, everything's gay. That was the Princesses of Power focused in on this. But if Kevin Smith is keeping his word, it's not going to be that way. Maybe we started being drinking game. Every time someone does something negative, we have to have a shot.
We would be dead of alcohol poisoning in an hour, depending what feed you have in Facebook right now. But
that's not fair.
It's not. I mean, literally, like we would be drunk off our asses in 30 minutes. I mean, like I don't know. I've gotten to the point with a lot of this where I'm not trying to make confrontations and I'm not trying to fight people, but I'm just very much like, well, can you prove it then? Like can you prove to me this show is all about that? Well, they told us so. No, they didn't. They didn't say a word that this was this. It's you reading into stuff. And that, again, that is my complaint about the whole thing. It's more, I really wish they would have told us last year that this was something going on rather than 2 years out. And that was, I think, the only, like in the production of it, I really, really think that they stumbled there, because if they've actually looked at the fandom, it's been interesting. That's all I'll say. It's been very interesting.
I'd say the pandemic played a big role. I'd say it was supposed to come out a little sooner.
Sure.
Because remember, they kept saying the power was going to return March of 2020. Corona sort of delayed that, and the power came much later.
Well, on the plus side, what are you both excited about the most for? Okay, what do you hope to see in the trailer that's going to make you get even more excited than knowing that the show is going to be out? Is there something specific, either from the images that we've seen or just in general what you hope to see?
Just, really nice, smooth animation, some good music. I assume that the animation quality is going to be, very, very similar to the Castlevania Netflix series, which has a lot of nice action in it. And it's interesting. My brother was chatting with me yesterday, and he said he watched the whole Castlevania series, and he learned that apparently Powerhouse Animation, the company that's now making this new series, that they will apparently contract out some of the animation, like certain fight scenes and whatnot, to another company, which is very cool. That they would say, okay, here's a really important scene. We need to do this right. There's a lot of movement, a lot of action, a lot of things going on. Let's give it to the specialists over here.
That's cool.
Well, Powerhouse also did the Son of Zeus. I don't know if you've seen that one on Netflix. They did that. I expect excellent animation.
Yeah.
Known for their detail. And it doesn't surprise me that they'll ask for help from an outside group if that group specializes in more battle scenes and all like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I am looking forward to seeing how they're mixing both the Filmation and the 2000X storylines together. Would be nice.
That'll be interesting. Because clearly there's some kind of mix going on in terms of the inspiration, right?
Because we have characters from both Filmation and the mini comics that were announced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
the big thing I'm looking forward to, but I know it probably would not be in the trailer, is hearing those famous words come out of the mouth of Adam. I mean, if it's in the trailer, it'll be great, because I have my students, I run a after-school program where everything has to be tied to anime, and I'm wanting them to see at least the trailer before the end of the year. They made me watch all this other anime. I got them to watch Castlevania.
Oh, so, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited to see what they do with characters that we've never seen before, like at least in Filmation, like Stinkor, Hero, Elena. Well, Elena's from Filmation, but we haven't seen Elena in anything past that one episode.
an episode about drugs.
Yeah.
So hopefully she cleaned up from not drugs, the potion.
Yeah, and Hero being voiced by the same guy as Samurai Jack. That's
Ooh.
amazing.
Yeah, Phil Lamar is a legend at this point in voiceover work and voice acting, I should say. And yeah, when I saw his name connected, that made me happy because he's usually involved in very good stuff from past experience. And for me, it's crazy. We have 10 episodes of this, and the roster. When you see the cast list, it's like, how are they fitting all of this into 10 episodes? Because I mean, just the initial one they had. I mean, like the one that I'm actually the most excited about probably is Scareglow because I want to. It's like with everything they're doing in this, how does he fit into the story? And then on top of that, Tony Todd, perfect. I still believe that for me was one of the most perfect castings.
Candyman too.
Candyman, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and Mark Hamill doing Skeletor.
Yeah, and I actually I was listening to the latest Fat Man Beyond today actually, and Kevin Smith is constantly in the last couple episodes he's just constantly just dropping stuff about this. And one of the people that he gave kudos to in that episode was Stephen Root, who's playing Cringer. And he said his Cringer is so soulful and there's a lot of heart in that performance that he's just like, man, he was so happy they could get Stephen Root involved with the project and everything. So from that perspective, I'm just like, man, like I can't wait to just hear a couple lines at this point, just to hear what these people are contributing, because we really have, this is like the longest Christmas day we've ever waited for at this point. Like,
Oh yeah.
and
And that's Cringer's voice actor. I thought they were going to go to 2000 route and not have Cringer speaking. So that's a big shocker to me already. That they're going Asian style.
You've got to have you've got to make Cringer talk. I mean, I cannot see. You just can't really fully enjoy Battle Cat as a character without him being able to speak.
For me, at least, Love in 2000X, I can always say that as much as I'm not the biggest fan of Cringer and Battle Cat talking, it felt like the only things that they could do with Battle Cat on that show usually involved Battle Cat roaring and then getting knocked out. And as much as I love that series, that is one thing I always pick on every time. Like every time you want to get He-Man riled up in battle, Battle Cat gets knocked out. You want to give him a disadvantage, Battle Cat gets knocked out. That's why they never paid a voice actor. They're like, he's not going to be in it that long. Don't worry about it, And but Stephen Root, when I think about him, especially in something like Office Space or Dodgeball, which he was acting in, it's like his voice works for Cringer in a way that Alan Oppenheimer was doing. It probably won't be identical, but it'll sound so close. And depending what they make him do in this series, yeah, like I'm sold on that too. Like Tony Todd, Stephen Root, and then I know when they revealed the transformation music, we did get a hint of the Atom turning to He-Man moment and all that stuff, and there were people having.
I have the power.
Well, we got to hear the "By the Power of Grayskull, I have the power," and it's like when you heard the "I have the power," people were saying, "Well, it didn't sound like He-Man," and I'm like, I'm still thinking, like, I want to see the visual to it before I actually put this is how I feel about it into it. But
And also, we did not hear the special effects, the visuals,
exactly, yeah,
the music.
yeah.
And people forget there's so many different layers in a film that we take for granted that when we only hear one layer, we're like, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
And that was a perfect example of taking things for granted.
Well, and it was also an example of, depending where this is in the story, that matters as well for how he was voice acting. And a lot of people were complaining he didn't sound like "By the Power of Grayskull." It's like, well, yeah, maybe in that moment he's not sure if he's going to harness the power of Grayskull. That depending on the story, because he does sound a little unsure. when he first says it in that. And I was like, let's let the story tell us what the deal is. It's not all about, oh, he's going to suck, you know? And again, you know, it's the negativity has been there for so long that I'm going to watch it. And I know I'm going to be sitting there. I know that day I'm just flat out telling the kids, I'm not answering any questions. Nothing is happening. I'm watching this, and once I'm done with this, then I will attend to anything you need. But until I can finish this,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to focus otherwise, because I got to see this show. It's been so long at this point.
Well, and for our listeners, we are going to try to, as soon as we can, get together a council episode where we can, give our reactions to this. I'm certainly going to be posting some things on the adultcollector.org YouTube channel and on the Revelation fans group and the Revelation page. Links will be in this video's description. What about you guys? Sean, you plan on, of course, giving your input on the Legends of Grayskull podcast?
Yeah, I know Matt is wanting to do a special. Let's get on and talk about it pretty much the day it happens, because I mean, like, for everybody who's a movie reviewer out there that gets to review trailers for everything coming out, this is special. This is very, very special this time around, especially for fans like us. And it's like, let's celebrate it. I'm excited just to actually get some moving images finally, and getting like you said, see how well the action, the flowing forms of it, and even maybe how brutal it'll get, since it is more aimed at us. I think the action in this one is probably going to make some people go, whoa, they did that.
Well, yeah, it's on the Netflix a site, page for this series. It says that it's rated PG-13, but then next to it says gore.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin Smith did say, yes, it's aimed at adults, but it's family friendly.
Yeah, family oriented. Mm-hmm.
They said that about Transformers the movie, and I got to see a whole bunch of Autobots die in 15 minutes. I don't, just saying. I mean, that was 86, and I was only 7 when I saw it. But yeah, it's like they put PG on that one.
Well,
I still remember them killing Optimus Prime and him dying in front of Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, how can you do this to me?
So anything's possible. I mean, they're doing this, and it's aimed at us. I mean, if I was Kevin Smith, or if I was any of the writers, I'd be interested in taking a couple of chances with this to try to show, hey, the stakes are definitely high compared to Filmation. It kind of reset itself each episode, and it's like, no, let's up the ante, because if this is a finite series, you could do some interesting stuff to make the fan community go nuts.
Well, right on that point, I wanted to say that that sentiment was echoed by Ted Biaselli, Netflix's director for the Revelation series. In an interview, Kevin Smith said, he was quoting Ted to say that Ted said, I believed in the stakes. Just make me believe that again. That people could die. He said about the series, how it's turned out. He said, the stakes are high. People can die. I'm not saying that people will, but they could. So I don't know. We'll see. And and real quickly, I wanted to mention that Ted, that director, he actually came to the Revelation fans group the other day to let us know that a trailer is coming soon.
Nice. Yeah, I actually appreciated one of the people that was giving negativity last week. I kind of gave my own sarcastic comment back at the person, and he even gave me a thumbs up. I was like, he noticed me. That's awesome. But
that's
yeah,
really
it's a great opportunity to tell a story that, as fans, we wouldn't have got it when we were kids, and it's definitely, I hope they take advantage of it in the right ways, and having somebody like Ted involved and how he has been a mega fan of Masters, and the way that Kevin Smith even talked about the way that they would collaborate with him and stuff, and that was unusual for any show because he wanted to be involved so much in this. It's like, I'm going on. I feel like it's gonna all have it'll have a great foundation, and hopefully this new story is gonna wow us. So
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
yeah, and again, I don't think that it's gonna be like the She-Ra series, and that's been reiterated by Kevin Smith multiple times. To say, they went their direction and their marching orders were, let's redesign the brand, right? Let's take the lore and whatnot, let's redo it, let's reimagine it. And his
Right.
marching orders from Ted and from Rob David in Mattel was, don't change it, just continue the story. So and by the way, he did say, Kevin said in another interview, he said it's going to be family oriented, like we said. He said there's definitely no sex in the show.
Aww.
So.
When I go to Masters, I figure there's got to be some kink to it. You know what I mean? I mean, Skeletor in the beginning in the mini comics, he didn't even wear underwear. He just had that gird in front of his loins, and that was the end of it. And we liked it. You know what I mean?
And plus, he's got to get lucky one of these.
Now, see, Kelly's going full for it. I'm just saying, hey, there was a little more butt cheek in this, but no, she's going right for that one. I love it.
Hit some sweet peas home. Girls are throwing themselves at him.
Oh man.
Well, I'd like to hear what right now we are just about to get a new trailer, and I should provide a little bit of information that the new trailer is set to be shown during Netflix's Geeked Week event, which is July. Officially, it's June 7th through the 11th. So that's for us. That's going to be tomorrow, Monday to Friday this week, and we're not certain which day it's going to pop up. It says that it's kicking off every day at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can also catch a daily replay at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course, all the content's going to be shown on the Revelation page and the Revelation fans group. And so.
Definitely on Council of the First Ones page as well. And also, I think this month we're supposed to get the first of the prequel comics.
Well, yes. The first comic, I believe, is coming out soon. You can already pre-order, and the links on the Revelation fans group page, I'll put in the description, but you can actually pre-order right now the whole trade paperback for that prequel series on Amazon. Yeah.
Wow.
Let me see. Where is that? It's got, Okay, so the first issue is going to be available July 7.
Oh, July?
Yeah.
I thought it was this month. I am sorry.
No.
Well, the thing for this month is that's when the figures are coming out, supposedly. That's when the street release for the figures, I want to say, what was it, June 15th, they were saying is when they're supposed to be out there.
I heard
at
something
least to
about
start.
that.
So there's that. But if I remember right from what I was reading, they're starting like they did with Origins, where it's a Walmart exclusive for a little bit, and then it's everybody else gets it after that. So that'll be annoying again, depending how that works out for us collectors. But that has me excited too, because it's like, the day after my mom's birthday, I can maybe walk into Walmart and there's Battle Cat. It's like there's people out there who already got them from Malaysia, and they're showing them off and they're doing reviews. I'm just sitting there going like, I wish I had it in me to do that right now, but the cost and the shipping to me is like, no, I just wait until I see it on the shelf at
Yeah.
Walmart or Target or whatever, because
You know, that kind of makes sense, because if you go to the Masterverse fans group, you'll see that I've started the Masterverse links and codes thread that gives you the DPCI numbers, UPC codes, everything you need to collect these toys.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually been able to scrounge up quite a few bits of information. For example, the fact that we're going to be getting a Tila figure, Spikor, Man at Arms. I found some, just like model numbers so far for those. But the links, I've been able to find links for Walmart's website and for the UK Amazon website.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have information confirming that it's Walmart exclusive. I'd have to go back and look at the, like Dan's interviews with Mattel about that subject. But yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens. But in terms of the release date, yeah, I've heard just a couple little things here and there. June 15th does appear to be the official street date. I mean, again, from what I've heard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in about a little over a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. In terms of listings, I haven't seen really anything concrete, just like kind of placeholders and on just a couple things on BrickSeek, like, okay, we acknowledge that this exists, but we don't have any information otherwise for you yet, that sort of thing.
That's still something to look forward to, at least this month.
Yeah.
And that for me. I'm excited because, obviously Origins are out there, but I've also been really wanting to see in hand how these figures look, especially after the reveals in the last couple of months. And I mean, we even got a surprise reveal in the last week for another figure that isn't even listed. So
yes, it's very interesting that it's an official Amazon listing, which has since been taken down. And I'm just going to click on my link here to confirm. Yeah, they took down the link, and probably because the photo that they included in this listing, and this is for an Origins Wind Raider vehicle. The photo was of Wind Raider, and it had a Masterverse prototype figure sitting inside of it. And all over the image, you can see text that says, Amazon, do not distribute, confidential, Mattel, da da da. And so they probably, yeah.
Some intern just grabbed the first photo and probably posted it, not even looking.
But amazing that can even happen.
That intern was shown the door at the end of last week, probably. I'm sorry, intern, but yeah, these sacrifices must be made.
But so the very interesting thing about this figure that's in the photo, and the photos on the Masterverse Evolution fans group, and I'll keep advertising that group, damn it, because it's got to catch up to the Revelation fans group. But this figure looks to be, it looks very much like a Revelation design, and it kind of looks like kind of an Ular sort of design. It because he doesn't have a shirt on, and he looks to be wearing some kind of pants that has like a simple rope for a belt, and the top of the pants are frayed, and he has long hair. And for me, I think that's a clear indication, assuming that this is for Revelation, as a design from the cartoon. It's a clear indication that in the cartoon, that he is going to be like exiled or somehow lost in the show. Either he's going to be he's going to be sent away, or maybe by through some magical spell he's going to be thrown into the past or something. We don't know. I think, actually, if I had to guess, my prediction is that what we're going to see is something bad's going to happen. Skeletor is going to get the sword, power sword, and the powers of Grayskull, and that we won't see Adam again until years later when he's fully grown. And that, he's in the jungle surviving on his own or something? Either that or he's rotting in a prison somewhere, like Grayskull's dungeon, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or he's flung into the past, and that would kind of make sense with Hero being in the storyline, depending on how deep of a cut Kevin Smith wants to go with this series.
Well,
but,
they told a lot of characters that only true fans would know their backstory. But
true.
And seeing the toy of Ular, I'm like, wow, what's going on?
Well, and keep in mind that, in this series, in the screenshots that we've seen, Prince Adam is a kid. He's a scrawny little kid. So that means that, given the design of this figure, that he's bulked up, he's grown up, right? Years have passed since he was a kid, and he's now grown up with long hair and tattered clothing. And so, yeah, it's either time travel or some terrible thing happened, and we're going to see him years later when he's grown up.
There's been a lot of people that do like what you were doing just now, where they'll have posts and they'll go into what they think is about to happen.
Yeah.
And this is one of the few times where I haven't even thought about it, because I just want to go into it with just cool. Let me just watch what it is.
Sure.
But if I took one or the other options, I'd say probably the one that I like is Skeletor did it in Filmation. And I hate that I cannot remember the names of the episodes for the life of me when I do this. The one where he went back in time and he tried to use the golden disc to blow up the area where Grayskull was going to be built. And then there's no more Grayskull. So then the sorceress had to transport He-Man back in time, and he had to stop the disc from. He basically sped the thing up so it would blow up even faster, and Grayskull was able to be built then. And
right. Yeah.
It's like they've already done that kind of a story. Why not do it in a way where, if Skeletor has the power sword and he has all of the power of Grayskull at his fingertips at this point, which that automatically is a compelling, like, holy crap, what can they do here? Having him just go, I'm going to send you where you'll never bother me again, and he just sends him back in time. And then the whole, like you were saying, Hero makes a lot of sense then. You have him and Hero's trying to get him back, because if he can't get him back, all hope is lost, kind of a thing. But maybe it takes him a while to get him back, and that's why he's become the Ular version, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah.
And that could be a really cool way of playing that up. And yeah, it's funny how each of these reveals is giving you a little bit something, and then your mind is going down all these, because like when they showed Skelegod, you're like, he has the sword. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Like it does make you go, where are they going with this now?
Okay, all right. So what if? So he gets the sword. He becomes Skelegod. He's all powerful. It's like, haha, I've won, right? And then the sorceress, in the last moment, right, just as Skeletor is claiming victory, she opens a portal to the past and flings Prince Adam into the past to Pre-Eternia. And in Pre-Eternia, he meets Hero, and Hero, understanding the situation, says, I will send you back, but I must prepare you for this fight, right?
That would be,
and so he spends years preparing, right? Training him until he's bulked up, until he's basically He-Man without a sword.
And it's the whole, it's got that being worthy to go back, because I almost like the idea that this is now the whole, let's take away you needing to rely on the power of Grayskull the way you do. Let's make it that you're capable of doing this whether or not you have it. and going to the Ular aspect, and that, like I said, that was one of my favorite versions of it, because it was just, here is this man who's capable of punching a mountain and it crumbles because he's so freaking trained and built that way. So if they went there, I'm going to say it right here on this show. I'm going to say it. Me being who I am about the mini comics in particular, that will make me probably get tears in my eyes going, you gave me the Filmation I've been waiting for 40 years. Because when I was a kid and knowing that show was about to air in 83, I went into it going, I want to see He-Man, and he's going to be all buffed, and he's going to do this, and he's going to do that, and he's just a barbarian tribesman. And all of a sudden it turned into what it turned into, and I'm like, okay, like I'll watch it, but what about what I was reading? What about what I liked? And if they go here, it's like, this is finally them kind of giving me a little bit of like a quote unquote make good of, but we didn't forget that, and that would be awesome for me as a fan at this point. So.
And what you were referring to wasn't the golden disc of knowledge. It is the time wheel.
The time wheel. Thank you.
And it was in the episode called The Time Wheel.
Yeah.
Disc of knowledge Skeletor did steal. Well, didn't steal. He got it from someone who became a cosmic enforcer who was trying to get into Skeletor.
And I knew it wasn't the golden disc, but I remember it as, it's a giant golden, basically, disc that was spinning or whatever. But I knew it wasn't that. So yeah, the time corridor.
Right. The time corridor. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing I'm on this show and I can't do that off the top of my head. But anyway,
you know what? I will further predict that not only will he be sent back in time, and I do recall some fan on the Revelation fans group going the time travel route as well. If he is flung back in time and he's trained by Hero, that then at the end of his training, he will be brought to Castle Grayskull and receive the Power Sword, and basically bring the Power Sword into the future to fight Skeletor, who already has the Power Sword because he's taken over Eternia.
I hate to say it, I got dropped out of the call by accident. I missed that whole thing. So could you repeat it? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that if he's brought into the past at the end of his training by Hero, he could be brought to Castle Grayskull and given the Power Sword, right? And it could be a moment of like, oh my God, it exists even now, like in this far back in the past. And he could be, and that kind of like further adds to the mystery of the castle, right? Without revealing its origins, right? To say, yeah, it's ancient, and we're not even going to tell you how it was built or anything like that. And then he could bring him back to the future, and honestly, I mean, well, frankly, he could bring him a little, farther back in the future so that he can kill baby Skeletor or whatever. But I guess we don't have to go there, right?
That makes me think of Thanos. Couldn't we just? And then he just like, couldn't we just strangle him?
Yes.
Oh.
It'll be fun. Yeah, let's just do our best to try to not let all the negativity out there ruin this special moment for us, right?
I'll go one or two options on what you just said, just because now you're making me think even more. One option is the Hero, at least in classics, Hero has the celestial power sword, the cosmic power sword. So the idea of if they have him with that in the show, giving that to Adam, and Adam coming back with like the pure energy version of that to go and fight the sword he's had all along and all that stuff would be kind of cool. The other option, because Rob David is involved, and Rob David also was involved in Eternity War, and that also was, the forging of the sword, having it where he takes He-Man, or he takes Adam to the chamber in Grayskull where the sword was forged, and he has Adam forge his own sword to have the power again. So he comes back with a brand new sword that maybe is I don't know how it would look, because I know in Eternity War it looked almost like a 2000X meets its own thing with the guard and all that on it. But it's like there's definitely things in this where if they go to these levels, I'm gonna get chills, because I'm getting chills just imagining. Well, if he goes back in time, how are they gonna fix that? If Hero's involved, then there's definitely a huge amount of like, the possibilities just in general on that storyline are awesome. And yeah, I'm definitely it's like I kind of want to say, like, Kevin Smith, hey, can we be in the story meetings at least, because we're having some fun too. Yeah. We got a couple of decent ones, come on. So
I'm sure that Kevin Smith and everybody involved wants to give us the best show that they possibly can produce, right?
yeah.
They're not looking to give us a lemon. And like you said, they've got some serious fans behind this, at Mattel and at Netflix, and I think they're going to do just fine.
On Mattel right now, with how the brand is, I really don't see Mattel wanting to just put something out just for the money grab of it. I honestly think they're like, this is our chance to really push this back out there and make people care about it the way that the fans do, and have new fans and all that. So yeah.
I absolutely feel that they recognize the importance of this, and the opportunity for the brand.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the casting, right?
Definitely.
So I have very high hopes for this series. And it's just a shame that this, at least initial run, is only 10 episodes. I honestly haven't heard any official word on whether or not they're going to be hour episodes or half-hour episodes, or somewhere in the middle.
I have no idea either. I don't think I heard rumors that it was around 44 minutes, but nothing confirmed.
Well, and yes, it is only 10 episodes, but honestly, that's pretty normal for this day and age. Netflix, I mean, typically series in the past would be uh, purchased, as a 20 episode run, but and then it's steadily whittled down over the years. So now we're at, well, Netflix can say, well, we're going to dip our toe in the water and just give you 10 episodes, and then we'll look at the numbers and we'll go from there.
Well, the one thing that makes me a little nervous actually is just in the last week they announced the Jupiter's Legacy show, that it's the beginning of the whole Miller World brand of Netflix, because they bought the comic creator Mark Miller. They bought his catalog. So the Jupiter's Legacy show that just started the beginning of last month was the first, here's a Miller World series that Netflix is now wanting to put out there. They canceled it. And they opened it wide open for a second season, and they're just like, we're done. We're not doing this. And that is just like, with us being on the cusp of this, that's got me even more like, oh God, because there's stakes for us, even not just the characters, because it's like, hopefully their numbers are showing that people really respond to this and they want more, because Netflix, I'm looking at them going like, they scare me, because if I like something and then they pull the plug like Jupiter's Legacy, then it just makes me go like, well, then why do I bother? So, and I don't want to say that about Masters. I do not want to do that for that brand. So, cross fingers on that one. But yeah, that shocked me, because it hasn't even been out for a month and they canceled it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I can never tell what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm, something else I'm really looking forward to is, as I recall anyway, we were told that we haven't seen the full cast yet of voice actors. So we could see some more surprises, right? And some more characters. I think surely, if Spike-Core is part of Revelation, then somebody's going to have to voice Spike-Core. And I'm sure that there are a number of minor characters that, even if they're not essential for the storyline, they'll still show up. Maybe even some additional characters thrown in without any speaking roles. Like I don't know, it could be anybody. Beast, Buzzsaw, or I'm sorry, Buzzsaw, Buzz Off,
yeah,
Mechanic. There's so many characters that they can toss in, and this is a
yeah.
cartoon. They can just. It's much easier than saying we want to add 10 more characters to this live action show.
Yeah, like if you look at the initial cast listing, Buzzoff isn't listed, Ram Man wasn't listed, Stratos wasn't listed, Fisto wasn't listed, and Mechanic wasn't listed. There's a lot of main heroes that a lot of fans are like, well, what about them? Like obviously everybody, when you watch the show, you're rooting for He-Man, but then it's like, well, who other than He-Man is your favorite? And you always have that second and third tier guy or gal, and even in the case of like for Skeletor, it's like you said, Spikor wasn't listed, Webstore wasn't on there. I can't think off the top of my head quickly enough, but like Beastman, Merman were already on it. Trapjaw was listed. So you got kind of the main ones, but yeah. Like Fisto is one that I always have is like he's like top 2 or 3 for me, and like it'd be cool, like you said, maybe a Game of Thrones actor or somebody comes in and maybe they give him like a Scottish accent or an Irish accent so he doesn't sound just like here I am, I'm Fisto or something, and that'd be kind of cool. And it's like you got to have somebody fun to have Ram Man because he, and I'm not the biggest fan of always going to the stereotypes for some of these characters because I'm not a guy for Skeletor. I'm like one of those people where the minute you show me something like that, I'm like, just don't, and I walk away. But in the case of Ram Man, you got to figure the guy's had enough head trauma. He probably starts most sentences with "Duh," and then he goes from there, and finding somebody who'd be really fun to play him in particular because he's a fan favorite. I don't know of anybody who doesn't at least like Rami,
Oh yeah,
So-
Rami is absolutely essential for the series.
Yeah.
And if they end up with a second series, which I'm hopeful that they will, they can play with characters a lot more, especially since we're the first season is packed with so many heavy hitters, so many celebrities that it would make sense for them to remove some of those characters in favor of new ones, because getting all those actors together in for this series, I'm sure, is a Herculean effort. And to say, okay, everybody, let's all do a second season, I think that would be very difficult, given who all the with all these choices that have been made.
Well, also, I'm very curious if this is a finite thing or not, based on what I've heard on Fat Man Beyond still, because there are moments where he talks about it's 10 episodes and that's all I was hired for, and da, 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 da. And then there's times where he's like, hey, Netflix, if you want me back for a season 2, I'm like, well, which is it, Kevin? Like, you don't have to tell me the ending, but can you at least go, hey, a season 2 is a possibility? Because that would just make me sit here and smile and go, awesome, there's more in the tank with this. Compared to if it's a finite series, it's great that it's doing the wrapping up of storylines part of things, but then it's like, if I love it, I'm gonna be sitting there going, and that was it. And that, it's like me being who I am, I guess. I'm just a little greedy. Like, if I like it, I'm gonna want to see more of it, and I'm hoping that it's a possibility sooner than later that they might go there. But yeah, cross fingers.
If we didn't get a second season, then maybe we could at least get a comic book series, because kind of like we're getting the prequel series from Dark Horse Comics. They could say, okay, we're now going to do a new run of books that's what happened after the series.
I'm open to whatever, but I would like, I think more than anything, I'd love to see another animated deal, especially if the animation in this really is working for me. Because again, we're few and far between on how often we get something new and special like that. So it's very like, I don't want it to I don't want it to end right away, right when it starts, I guess is the best way I can describe it. So,
well, it could be a huge hit. I mean, if the numbers look good, Netflix could easily turn around and say, hey, we want more of that.
Yeah. Well, I know me and my kids are going to be in for this one, so And actually, it's funny. A buddy of mine who he grew up with He-Man, but he's not like us, and he's not like a lot of the fans up there. But he appreciates it. He's even getting like, you know, I'm kind of excited about this. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I want that battle cat. I'm like, yeah, there's some good stuff that's starting to come out that really is, it's worth looking at, even if you're not overly consumed with He-Man. If you appreciate it, there's going to be some fun stuff that'll make you go, I think I need that on my shelf, and so yeah, one way or the other. And I him being that way, and then the fact of the Kevin Smith name to it is drawing people, and the media being the way it is, more positive than not, thankfully. Yeah, it's got the good word of buzz, or what's the word of mouth, the buzz that's out there, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, and everybody involved, all these actors, they're all good people,
Mm-hmm.
and I can easily see this becoming a huge hit, and that would make it even easier for them to bring in even more celebrities, more talent for a second season. And right after, and I'll just mention briefly, right after PowerCon, when this thing was announced, Kevin did an interview where they asked him about She-Ra. He said that if we have a second season, he said he understands that Adora will have to play a role at some point, and that could happen in like a second season. We could even get a He-Man She-Ra Christmas special, or at least a homage to it. And so yeah, I think he's definitely open to this. He's ready for it to be successful.
Yeah,
and to take
forgot
that next
about
step.
that interview, actually. Yeah, that's right. Here's hoping. What's funny is on his show, he always goes, if I have a bad day, I curl up and I watch those 5 episodes. And then I smile, and I'm like, my God, if it's doing it to him, and granted, yes, he's got skin in the game because he's on it. He's part of the creative staff and all that, the hype machine. But there is that part of me where I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, this is also somebody who he acknowledges, yes, He-Man was around, and I didn't get the toys, but I was aware of it, and there is a pop culture resonance to it, and he knew factoids about it and all that before he became a showrunner for it. And it's like, to have somebody like him where he's saying, this is something I'm very proud of, and it's something that he keeps saying it's like one of the top 5 things he's ever done in his life at this point. And I'm like,
right.
That's a pretty good thing to say. I mean, he's had a decent amount of stuff that he's been able to do, both on his own, with his own properties, as well as with, comic books and like the DC shows on the CW and some of this stuff. And it's like, to say that's the top 5, I mean, out of all this stuff, yeah, that's saying something, in my opinion.
Well, and it'll be exciting to see when the actors, and writers, when they can officially start talking about this series in interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe at I don't know, at PowerCon, maybe we'll see some of those folks at the show.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
How exciting would that be, right?
It will be nuts if I find out Mark Hamill is at PowerCon. Like that, I will have to be calling my mom, and we'll both be like, "Oh my God, Luke Skywalker's at PowerCon," because my mom raised me on the original Star Wars and all that, and to her that's like Luke, and it's like to just think, holy crap, I'm in the same room as Mark Hamill or whatever, or like who else? Or if they got Lena Headey to show up, or who? I mean, geez, I'd just be starstruck for a couple hours.
If they were to get 4 or 5 of those celebrities to sign up for the show, those PowerCon tickets will sell out, right?
Just
and what?
Just as fast as those exclusives.
Right.
Oh man.
Well, I'm excited that me and my wife are going, and yeah, it's going to be a fun trip.
Yep, I'll be there.
I'd like to thank you for joining us for another episode of Council of the First Ones. Till next time, good journey.
And this is David Clark, owner of adultcollector.org. I highly encourage everybody to join the 10,000 member Masters of the Universe Revelation fans group and the growing 6,000 member Masterverse group on Facebook. And keep up with all the latest news and discussion. And thanks both of you for having me on again. It's always great to have a little PowerCon together. And for everybody else, stay safe and good journey.
And this is Sean Scavarna. Thanks again for having me on. And if you want to get into the history, the mystery, the magic and mythology of Masters, as well as some geekdom, I'm also on the Legends of Grayskull podcast with Matthew Deutsch, and we talk shop there once or every couple of weeks as well. And this is a good time. Good time. I can't wait for this trailer. So until next time, good journey, guys.